You guys want to hear something crazy? I learned about a new puzzle piece in the puzzle that is my body last night. It turns out I have mild sciatica, which is when your sciatic nerve is mad at you for not moving enough, basically. And it turns out the way to fix that is to do something called nerve flossing, which is where you do like a specific kind of stretch, you know, and you get your sciatic nerve to kind of like slide up and down through your body because it doesn't stretch that much. So you want to like get it to move like dental floss in your body. I don't think I like that. I don't really like it either, I'm not going to lie. But I did do the procedure, the flossing, and it did lead to some immediate improvements. So demonstrate? I cannot. I'm very sore. I'm not doing anything right now. Sorry. No physical demonstrations of anything today. Can somebody explain to me why this was linked? A bunch of dislikes. Whitney Cummings, there's no such thing as the perfect Democratic candidate. I assume this is a concessionist bullshit. That girl's the worst. She's a known element. I saw something like this, or at least something like what I think. There's that. Where's that lady? The Democratic Congresswoman who voted in favor of the ICE funding and then put out that video of her who she looked like she was tweaking, where she was like, "We need to be strategic. We need to be pragmatic." What was that woman's name? Marie Perez? Was that it? That was it.
Like, shit's terrible, but we have to be strategic and think clearly. And no one's talking about this fact, like, ICE is pre-funded for 6 years. The reconciliation bill that was passed last January means ICE can keep doing this for 6 years. The money is not, they did it before the budget was passed. They're going to keep doing it if the budget isn't passed. And so the money's not the question. The question is, what leverage do Senate Dems have now to negotiate accountability right now to end this craziness? Like, I think they could negotiate.
She looks genuinely deranged. Whose idea was it to present herself this way?
To get Senate that, I think they could negotiate to replace Noam with someone that doesn't skirt the filibuster. I think they could get ID numbers on federal law enforcement. I think they could get an end to the surge. I think they could get an investigation in Minnesota that wasn't run by the feds. I think they could get an end to the administrative warrant bullshit. There's stuff that is worth getting because the money is not the question at this point. It's pre-funded. I know everyone feels terrible, but we have to be strategic right now.
Wonderful. Dude, people hate her ass. Hate her ass. Unsurprisingly, a Zionist, as all bad people are. In October 2024, when repeatedly asked about present concerns of excessive U.S. military support to Israel for the Gaza war and its misuse, she stated, "One must ground this conversation in the fact that October 7th was the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust." It's crazy how all of them have this same hackneyed line. It's the same time for all of them. Like, they're all consulted by the same people, you know? Their AIPAC handlers all give them the exact same fucking thing to say. Kind of liberal democracy it is, crucial in a region where women's and LGBTQ rights are under constant threat. Fucking CIA asset. $280,000 off of AIPAC. Wonderful. God, look at how bad it is out here, man. Washington. Both senators and every single congressperson except for Pramila Jayapal. People are alleging she sold bad weed to college students. Well, that's merely funny. The middest mids in a court sandwich bag like straight leaves, nasty stuff. That's fucked up, man. Bring her to Congress. Have you seen the latest Technology Connection video? He calls for the abolition of ICE at the end. The tech YouTubers are getting angry. I have not seen it. However, I'm not surprised. For one, Technology Connections is Midwestern. And for two, he's always been based. You know? It's easy to read that off of him. Tech YouTubers are fucking psychotic. Not all of them. Some of them are all right. What are we looking at? Just smearing people. No big. Going well in the UK. We are using a tech used on Gaza on the British population now. Yeah, that's why we tested it on Palestinians. That's the whole point. The whole reason Western companies worked with Israel to do this was so they could eventually do it to us. That was the whole point. Why the fuck would they waste all that surveillance technology, all that incredibly expensive, advanced, top-of-the-line surveillance technology on a couple million, like, marauding concentration camp residents, you know? It was always for us. The Israel lobby has done a wretchedly bad job of convincing people to side with them. You know, they have it's the same thing that DC consultants do, where they only talk with each other. So they get really, really, really like insular, and they no longer know how to talk to people outside their circle. But the Zionist lobby has gotten so fanatical and so puritanical internally that now when they turn externally, they're incapable of recognizing how badly they're alienating people, you know? Yeah, annoying and censorious. They offer nothing. They have no interest in appealing to your better sensibilities. They don't want to come across as good people or nice or interesting or funny or whatever. They're never funny. They're never nice. They're never interesting. They always say the same thing. They're always browbeating. It's never good to be around them. You never want to be around a Zionist under any circumstances, you know? They're always bad to be around. They're never fun. They can't make jokes. They only have one strategy. Trump's Fed chair pick is in the Epstein files. Is he Israeli? Not Mossad? Gotcha. Kevin Vaush. What is a pedophilic monetary policy? Like how can you introduce pedophilia into Fed policy is what I'm wondering. Like the gold standard but use kids, I guess? Like base the value of your currency on how many children you have in your country? Interesting. He was on the Fed board during 2008 and opposed all the moves to lower inflation. In September 2009, with unemployment at 9.5% and climbing, Walsh argued the Fed should begin to pull back on its efforts to help the real economy recover. The runaway inflation he warned about never appeared. Walsh was extremely skeptical of the Fed's plan to generate economic activity and jobs by trying to lower long-term interest rates. Although unemployment was close to 10%, he told his colleagues he would only vote for QE2 out of respect for Chairman Bernanke. Holy shit, this guy was wrong on everything. And he's going to be our Fed chairman. All right, well. Neat. He
opens the doors, and there's a massage table in the middle of the room.
Ooh.
And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
He's really telling this story like somebody who had a harrowing and unknowing encounter with one of the world's most notorious pedophiles. You know, like the way he's selling this, it's really bringing the gravitas and the negativity. It doesn't sound like he's bragging, you know?
And my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Oh,
so I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Oh.
And so I
very normal way of talking.
Look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
He gave me a gift.
Yes.
Of a void.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, keep in mind that what Epstein has done is basically incomparable in scope to any crime anyone has ever committed. Like, you have to run through so many people before you find people, even like on an institutional level. Imagine like a person who escaped a school before a shooting happened talking about an encounter with the shooter like this. Like, imagine taking this tone of voice if you briefly encountered and then were repulsed by a person who had done this much bad. And he's like loving it. He's glowing with it, you know? And then, oops, turns out he emailed with Epstein years and years later.
My story, a one and absolutely done.
One and done. Just saw the massage tables and left. It's a big club, man. Went to the Erica Kirk School of Appropriate Emotional Tones. True. Kind of crazy how it's all of them. Yeah. No mentions of Joe Biden, according to reporters. It's crazy how, like, Joe Biden did the bidding of Israel without even needing to be implicated in a child sex trafficking scheme. Like, maybe the reason they didn't bring Joe Biden to Epstein's Island is because they knew he would already do whatever Mossad asked him, you know? But I love it a game. Why was Joe Biden so loyal to Israel, though? I don't get it. I think that we, at a certain point, we need to accept that devotion to Israel, the fanatical loyalty that is demonstrated by so many powerful people, is itself a kind of mental illness. It could be blackmail. It could be genuine ideological belief in Jewish supremacy. It could be Christian evangelicism. It could be a lot of things, you know? But overall, as an aggregate, it is a cult mentality. The way it represents itself, the way that it is visible and engageable as like a political force, it is a cult. As demonstrated by the fact that people who are zealots for Israel are incapable of appearing normal to the rest of us. Like, they don't moderate their behavior to get the best outcome possible. They are always on. When they show up in public and when they talk about it, they come across as incredibly fucking off-putting to everyone else, you know? Not rational. Not rational. Yeah, can somebody explain to me why we liquidated so much silver and gold, like, overnight? Why did this happen? Bored? It just did that? Like, gold being down by 10% and silver being down by 30% are insane dips because it's over double the record high price. It's not possible for anything to be higher than the record high price. I imagine people wanted to cash out in the high prices. Okay, but whose people? Is it like, is this like a big government drop, or is it just a bunch of individual buyers selling because they panicked? People were hedging against a crazy Trump nominee? Huh. Sheesh. I'll have to learn more about this. God damn, man. Well, it's still really high up there. Man, if you had bought gold like 1 year ago, or silver, you'd be, even right now, if you sold, you'd be in a good spot. Floss your sciatica. Oh, you want to floss the sciatica? Yeah, here. Whoop. Whoa. Just like that. Super lame, right? But like, I guess the idea is that every time I do this, there's a cable running through my whole body. And it's the sciatic nerve, you know? So, but when I tilt my head up like this, I'm yanking it. I'm yank, and then I let down, and then I yank, you know? Yeah. You know? The body's made of cables. Yeah. You do that like a couple times on both sides. Sciatica is caused by the nerve running through the muscle instead of under the muscle. 1/3 of the population has this. Yeah. So you're trying to like encourage it to move more freely on its own. You know? Vaush's tiny calves. I think they're okay. They're okay. They're fine. They exist, you know? They have like standard fat boy tiny compared to mine. Yeah, because a lot of you are probably fatter than me. So you have fat boy calves. And I used to have fat boy calves, but then I lost weight. Calves are all genetics anyway. Fuck you. Size doesn't matter. Zionist lie. All right. Can you say my sciatica like an old Jewish man in a not anti-Semitic way? No, we can't. Unfortunately, a consequence of the rise of Zionist tyranny is that you can't make any Jewish jokes, because I'm going to have to dedicate like an insane amount of rhetorical effort in the coming years to make it really clear that even though, as we learn more about the extent of like Epstein affiliated and Zionist control over U.S. government and so on, the extent to which that's broadly reaching, so much effort is going to have to be dedicated to reminding people of the fact that at the end of the day, it's really not about Jews. Like the average guy, the average Jewish guy is just a fucking guy. They're not in on it, man. And a lot of the people who are in on it are Christian. It's just not like, it's nominal. And I'm consistent about that. I've never made the argument that like white supremacy is a like broadly, like it's an overarching power structure that ropes in every white person as like a deliberate, conscious agent of that, you know, power system or whatever. It's not how it works.